Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Suranjali Seal, and like I always say, if you are somebody that loves literature and is all about literature, then this is the channel for you. In our video today, we are going to begin a new topic. The topic for today's video is life writing. Now, life writing is an extremely interesting topic. We're going to discuss the subgenres of life writing, the types of life writing, and their characteristics in detail. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. So let us try and understand what life writing actually is. Let us try and understand the concept first. So life writing is something which all of us have come across. It is something which some of us even take part in our day-to-day lives. Now you don't have to be a literature student to actually take part or understand or partake in life writing, okay? Life writing is very simple. Life writing includes autobiography, it includes biography, it includes journals, it includes diaries and such like. Okay, so life writing is you're writing about lives. You're writing by yourself about lives, or somebody else is writing about your life, which becomes a biography. It's your day-to-day record of life, that is your diary. You record your day-to-day happenings, your plans, you record your emotions also in the form of a journal, and then you record memories. If you have read Kamala Das's My Story, it is a memory from her childhood that she recounts. It's a memoir, so even a memoir is part of life writing. I'll explain all of these genres in detail, but you have to understand life writing. You're actually expressing about, you're actually depicting or talking about life of individuals. Sometimes it actually has sprung from the autobiography genre. Autobiography, the author writes about his or her own life. She's writing about experiences in her own life, and that becomes life writing, that she's talking about episodes in her life, experiences in her life. So from the autobiography genre, it's expanded now. Life writing is an expansive genre. Autobiography, definitely, now it includes biography. Now it also includes memoir, it includes diaries and journals. It includes all of these subgenres and types of life writing in it. So life writing is an expansive genre. Maybe now letters also feature in life writing. So it's an expansive genre that primarily deals with the purposeful recording of personal memories, experiences, opinions and emotions for different ends. So I think that now this is clear, that it is very personal to the reader, very personal to the author. It's that personal relationship between the author and whatever is being written and whatever the reader is reading, right? So while what actually constitutes life writing has been up for debate throughout history, it has often been defined through the lens of the history of the autobiography genre. Like I said, there's a lot of debate as to what constitutes life writing. You can write a 2-line poem on one of your experiences in life. Does that count as life writing? These kind of debates are also going on, okay? But we have to remember that it sprung from the autobiography genre, as well as the concept of the self as it arises in writing. Whenever we're reading characters in literature, whenever, say, Kamala Das's My Story is a memoir, and then when you read that memoir, you realize the character development. We realize what young Kamala Das is talking to us about. She is relating her experiences, and then we see the development in character and our notion of the self as in who we are. Who am I? Who are you? The notion of the self is always explored in literature, okay? It's not just in life writing. In writing itself, when you're writing in literature, the notion of the self, the individual, the character, the development and the notion, the idea of who are you, that is always explained in literature, is it not? Now in life writing, it's a little bit more personal. Why is it personal? Because the author himself or herself is writing. Autobiography, somebody himself is writing. Biography, somebody else is writing about somebody else's life. It's a factual recounting of the life. Then you have diary, where somebody is planning and writing down every day what they're going to do. A journal, where somebody is writing down everyday happenings and emotions attached to it. Then you have a memoir, where you're thinking about a particular memory that has had a lasting impact in your life, and you're writing about that shortly, crisply. You're writing about an episode in your life. So all of these things, no, include the notion of the self, who you are as a person, as an individual. Everything about you, who you are, is being recounted over here. And this is what life writing is all about. In letters also, when you write a letter to your friend, you're actually, it's a very personal thing, right, between you and your friend. Now there have been letters exchanged between eminent writers, between writers and their family members. Those have also been preserved. Diary of a Young Girl, Anne Frank, right? Anne Frank's diary is widely celebrated. We read it now, but it was a diary. She used to write about her, experiences, okay, during the Holocaust and all of those. During in Nazi Germany. So she used to write about all of those things. She used to write about it during that time. She used to write about her experiences. Now this diary, everything that's written in the diary, we know it commonly as Anne Frank's diary, Diary of a Young Girl. So you see, this is all life writing. It's life depicted on paper, or rather life depicted through words and language, and it's a personal relationship between the author, the readers, and whatever is being written. So framed by these two concepts, life writing as a genre has emerged to include many other subgenres, including but not limited to. These are few of the genres which we popularly know, but of course it's an expansive genre, right? Right in the beginning we have discussed this. So it is not, it includes, but it is not limited to biography, memoir, diary, letter, testimony, and personal essay. So all of these are subgenres of life writing. So I hope that this is very, very clear. A modern term meant to cover the general realm of non-fictional writings about the lives, experiences, and memories of individual people or small groups of people. This is like a formal definition, okay, that it is meant to cover the general realm of non-fictional writing. Non-fiction as in you're not weaving fictional characters. These are real life happenings. That's why it is known as life writing. So experiences and memories of individual people are also recorded. I think you understand this now. It includes autobiography, biography, hagiography, apology, memory, along with certain kinds of diary, journal, letter, travelogue, and personal essay. So this is what life writing is all about. We're going to talk about some of the important life writing, the subgenres of life writing, like autobiography, biography. We're going to talk about all of these things and their characteristics. So let's move on further. So, of course, we're going to discuss the first most common type of life writing, which is very popular amongst all of us. So, it is none other than the autobiography and its characteristics. So, what is an autobiography? It is a literary genre that tells the story of a person's life, often in a retrospective manner. So, we have to understand this. So, a literary genre that tells the story of a person's life, of course we know this, that's what an autobiography is. Okay, an autobiography actually recounts the experiences of a person's life, but in a retrospective manner. Retrospective manner means it relates to the past, or it talks about something that has happened in the past up until the present. So for example, if I am writing an autobiography, I will not just start by today, right? I'm going to start from when I was a child. So maybe this is just an example. I can start by saying, I remember the day that I had gone to the park with my mother. I was only 3 years old then. And then I go and continue the story. So what I'm doing is, in a retrospective manner, I'm relating to something that has happened in the past. And then, you move forward in time. So this is the first thing that you have to remember. It is a recounting of a person's life, often in a retrospective manner. Autobiographies are considered to be non-fictional. Of course, we know that autobiographies don't fall in the fictional genre, but like I said, it's an expansive genre, right? Nothing is concrete in literature, and life writing is an expansive genre, or an expanding genre, so to say. So nowadays, sometimes autobiographies can be imaginative, it can be constructive, it has expanded its limit, so to say. So yes, autobiographies are non-fictional, but they can be constructive, it can be imaginative, okay, alongside it obviously being non-fictional. So let us look at the characteristics of autobiographies. Autobiographies are written in the first person from the author's point of view, and they use first person pronouns such as I, me, and my. Of course, like, I remember the time when I was in class 4, or I remember the day I had gone to the park with my mother when I was just 3 years old, and then I go. So you use first person. It's a first person narrative, right? The author himself or herself is speaking to us. So it's a first person narrative, and also you use pronouns like I, me, and my. Okay, so this is very easy. they recount the events of the author's life in chronological order. So, sometimes you can use flashbacks. I think I've mentioned it here. Oh, yeah, although they may sometimes use flashbacks for added effect. So, you go in a chronological order. I talk about my childhood, then I talk about my teen years, then I talk about my adulthood. All of these things I'll recount, and then maybe in the middle I can use flashback. That I had ice cream one Sunday, or maybe I had a cup of coffee one Sunday morning, and I remembered the time when I was in school and I was walking through a rainy day. I just go to a flashback. And why do I do this? For effect, so that when the reader is reading it, it hits them emotionally, and mentally and emotionally, it hits them a little bit more. So yes, of course, it's a chronological recounting of events, but nowadays, yes, it is imaginative also. There are constructive plots also, there are flashbacks also. But traditionally, autobiographies are non-fictional. Generally, they are non-fictional, and of course, they talk in the first person, and they recount the author's life in chronological order. This is traditionally. Now, inconclusiveness, this is also generally, autobiographies are inconclusive. And why are they inconclusive? Because the person who's writing it is still alive. That is, in biography, you will see that there's a birth date, and then you end with the date of death. Or you mention the day that the person you're writing about in a biography, you mention the day that they have passed away, because it's an important date. But in autobiography, it's inconclusive. There is no date of death, because the author himself is writing, right? The author himself is writing the autobiography, so he's alive or she's alive, so there's no date of death. So inconclusive. Chronological order, autobiographies usually, okay, remember the word usually, because again, nothing is concrete. Sometimes they may use flashbacks also, but usually, generally, they recount events in chronological order, but may use flashbacks. Time collectiveness. Now, this is also very important. It's an important characteristic of autobiography. They use time connectives like while, earlier, yesterday, last year, because you are talking to the people, or you're talking to the reader. You yourself are writing it, right? So you're going to talk about, today I did this, last year I did that, yesterday I did this. So it is a little bit more personal. It is a little bit more close to the personality of the author. So significant life events, of course, they have to be recounted. There are significant life events, turning points, point in time which had made a lasting impact or changed the course of decision making altogether. All those important events are recounted in autobiographies. And authenticity, written by the person himself. That is, if I write something about my life someday, then that is going to be an autobiography. It's written by the person himself, so it's 100% authentic. Now, I've given examples of some really cool autobiographies and really nice ones that you can read, which actually will leave a lasting impact in the way you view life. They actually have a lot of teachings in them. Of course, you have Anne Frank's The Diary of a Young Girl. This is the most celebrated one. Then you have I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. Then you have Nelson Mandela's Long Walk to Freedom, must read. It is life-changing, actually, and very rich in teachings, rich in lessons. And of course, Becoming by Michelle Obama. This is a very contemporary example I've given. So these are a few autobiographies that you can check out if you're interested. Now we're going to move on to the next subgenre, which is the biography. Now we're going to have a look at what do we mean by the biography and what are its characteristics. So a biography is written account of a person's life, usually written by someone other than the subject. So what are we talking about over here? The first difference we got between the autobiography and the biography, right? So the autobiography, the subject himself or herself is writing about their own life. And here in a biography, the subject is not writing about his or her own life. It is somebody else who is recounting, okay, the life of the subject. What I'm trying to say, in an autobiography, for example, I am writing about my own life. In a biography, you will be writing about my life. Okay, you will, and it's not that you just go and write random things. You'll have to do research. You'll have to come and ask me questions. You have to come and, conduct research that, yes, tell me about your life. What did you go through? What are your experiences? And then you can write the biography. Otherwise, it cannot be considered a biography if you just write whatever. You have to actually back yourself up with factual information. You have to back yourself up with proof. And that's how you're going to do proper documentation, right? Proper proof. You have to come and talk to the subject himself or herself, and then write the autobiography. But the main difference, the point is that an autobiography is written by the subject himself or herself, and a biography is written, it's a written account of a person's life, but it is written by someone other than the subject. Okay, so the word comes from the Latin words bios, meaning life, and graphia, meaning record. So life record, which falls under life writing. So biographies can include a detailed description of a person's life, including their education, work, relationships, and death. So again, next difference between autobiography and biography. An autobiography is inconclusive. That is, you might not have a date of death. You don't have a date of death, actually. So the author is alive, does not write the date of death. But an autobiography, when somebody else is writing it after thorough research, can include the date of death. So intimate details of the subject's experiences and analysis of the subject's personality. So this is what a biography can include in itself. We're going to have a look at its characteristics. Factual information. So again, next difference between biography and autobiography. In an autobiography, of course, it's factual information, but it has to do with a more personal tone. It has to do with a little bit more about the experiences and, you know, the emotional turmoils, also emotional experiences of the subject. In an autobiography, it is more personal, right? That's why you have, of course, you have facts, but it's also a storyline. It is also about recounting of facts, recounting of emotions. It's more personal. But in an biography, it is more factual. You start with the date of birth, then you go, yes. For example, in my experiments with truth by Mahatma Gandhi, it's an autobiography, and he talks about his life experiences in it. He talks about, you know, his experiments with truth, about important moments in his life and the impact that it had had, the decisions that he took in his life. All of those kind of personal things are related to in that autobiography. But in a biography, when somebody else has written about Mahatma Gandhi's life, they probably will say, yes, he was born on this at this date. He was born on this date. He had gone out to study law on this date. He came back on this date, and then he, you know, it's like a factual recounting of his life. And then, yeah, the Dandi March and the freedom struggle. And, you know, it is a factual information, while an autobiography can be a little bit more personal. Now, objective perspective, biographies strive to be objective, but interpretations of events may vary. Now, the thing is, say for example, an autobiography will talk about the Dandi March, okay, about Mahatma Gandhi. It's an objective. Subjective would be it differs from person to person. Objective means a matter of fact way. Like objective means it's factual. So if the Dandi March had occurred on a particular date, you cannot change the date, right? It's a particular fact. So in a matter of fact way, a biography is written. You cannot alter those things. But interpretations of events may vary. So some people may take the Dandi March in a particular way and write their own story. Another person may take the same event and interpret it and write it in another way. But in a biography, you'll have the date. The factual date will always be the same. Interpretations can vary, but yeah, the facts will always be the same. Now, contextualize a chronological order. Biographies usually present events in order that they happen. So if somebody were to ask me that, ma'am, please relate your life experiences to us, we are going to actually write a biography. Now, I'll relate that, okay, at the age of 3, this happened, 4, this happened. You're going to do a thorough research, proofread everything. Everything is done. Then from the beginning to the end, you're going to write a biography. Okay, like that. But in an autobiography, again, you see, you can use flashbacks. You can use a more personal tone in an autobiography. So these are the few differences. Insight into character. Biographies offer a deeper understanding of the subject's personality, motivations, and character. And you know, how do you do this? How do you actually, get a deeper understanding of the characters? When you're reading, say, the Dandi March, then you see the reaction of the Britishers, and then again you see the kind of laws that were brought out. You will see the impact that Mahatma Gandhi, as a figure, an important personality, okay, in the history of the Indian freedom struggle, in the history of the Indian state itself. So, you know, you'll see the importance of his character and his contribution coming out. The moment you see the way he acted and the reaction to his actions, the laws that were passed as a reaction to, or maybe the way the police reacted as a reaction to the Dandi March, all of that, when you read that, you will get an idea of how strong the personality of Mahatma Gandhi actually was, and how brave all our freedom fighters were, because they took risks for the sake of others, right? They put their lives in danger so that tomorrow would be a better day. So what I'm trying to say is they give an insight into the character. Even autobiographies give an insight to a character, and even biographies give us an insight, a deeper understanding of the personalities themselves. Third person point of view, again, what's the next difference? That biography is first person point of view. In first person everything is being recounted, and in a biography, in an autobiography, sorry, and in a biography it is the third person point of view, because somebody else is recounting the events, right? So biographies are written in the third person and have a more formal and objective tone than memories or autobiographies. So what I'm trying to say, it's general, right? If I write my own story, I will have my way of writing it, right? A little bit more personal. But if you're writing a story about your teacher or somebody who you look up to, there will be a formal tone, right? Because you don't own the life story, you're listening to the story and actually recounting everything. So there has to be some kind of respect, there has to be some kind of a formal tone involved. So this is what a biography is. In-depth research, like I said, you cannot just go ahead and write anything. Biographers use a variety of sources, including personal documents, interviews, letters, and historical records. So authenticity, biographies aim to convey the subject's authentic voice and essence. If you want to stay authentic, if you want to show the the authentic voice of the person you're writing about, the authenticity of that person will come out only when you back your research with proof, only when you back your work, your biography, with thorough research, documentation, and proof, right? So this is a biography. Photos. Biographies may include photos to show what the subject looked like at different times in their life. So this is what a biography is. We're done with the major ones, biography and autobiography. So this is the characteristics. This is what the first two subgenres of life writing is. Now we're going to move on to the next one. So this is one of the genres that I also thoroughly enjoy, and it is the memoir. The memoir and its characteristics. I have already talked about one famous memoir in one of my short videos, and I think you'll recount that when I give you the example. So a memoir is any non-fiction narrative writing based on the author's personal memories. The assertions made in the work are thus understood to be factual. Now see, very, very important. In biography, these are objective. Objective means these are facts, non-changeable facts. This is common to all of us. When was, say, Mahatma Gandhi born? When was Subhash Chandra Bose born? Okay, when was Jawaharlal Nehru born? When were these important or eminent figures born? All of these things are common to us. These are non-changeable facts, right? But in a memoir, you're recounting personal events. I, as an author, say will write about my 19th birthday, okay, about my 19th birthday, and I'll be writing down. Because it's my memory, because I am writing about my birthday, the reader will assume that whatever I'm saying is true, that whatever I'm saying is factual. Why? Because these are my memories. You cannot come and prove that my memories are wrong. I'm recounting something that has happened to me in my life. So it is not something which is common to everyone. My 19th birthday, okay, whatever I've gone through in my 19th birthday is not common to everyone around me. But you as a reader will take it to be true. Because why? Everything that I'm writing is coming from my memory. And autobiography, I'll tell you, autobiography, you'll say, I lived with my mother in this place, and there was this tree there was this tree that, I went to school here, and this was an experience in my school. When you're writing that is still factual. Where were you born? That concrete place, the place where you were born, still factual. Yes, interpretations might be there. Your feelings might be also expressed there, right? You're recounting your whole life. It is an autobiography. A memoir is short. You're not recounting your whole life. You're giving a piece of yourself. You're giving your emotions. You're giving your memory. You're writing it down, but it is a short period of time. For example, autobiography records a whole life, and a memoir records a particular event. Like I might write about my 19th birthday, so it is one event, in my life, and I'm going to write about it. So a memoir, okay, whatever I am writing about from my memory, it's taken to be true. Because these are memories, these are things that have happened in my life. Now, while memoir has historically been defined as a subcategory of biography or autobiography, in like historically, what we mean over here, that memoir is understood to be a subcategory of the biography and autobiography. Why? Because in an autobiography, what happens is you're recounting a life. In that entire episode, the 19 years features, right? So you just take out the 19 years and write about it. That's like short event in your life. This is a memoir. Okay, so people for many years have thought that yes, memoir is a subcategory of autobiography or a biography, because biography talks about a whole life. In that life, when you are 19 years old, you write a short memoir on it. So, they thought it's a subcategory, but now memoir means like it has attained a genre of its own. Okay, so the genre is differentiated in form, presenting narrowed focus, usually a particular time phase in someone's life or career. Now, yes, it has become a genre of its own. Memoir, it has become, it's no more it's not just limited to a subgenre of autobiography and biography, not like that. A memoir talks about more, it expresses a lot more than just a particular event. In that event, whatever has been life-changing, whatever has been, say, important in the author's life, everything personal to the author is actually expressed in a memoir. It is nicely expressed in a memoir. Okay, so what I'm trying to say over here is this: autobiography recounts one whole life, beginning to the end, so to say, and a memoir is a particular episode in a particular person's life that is also very personal to the writer. The writer writes it in first person itself and is recounting memories, right, of a particular event that had a turning point or had a life-changing impact in the person's life. So, biography or autobiography tells the story of a life, while a memoir often tells the story of a particular career, event, or time, such as touchstone moments and turning points in the author's life. The author of a memoir may be referred to as a memoirist or a memorialist. So this is what we call authors of memoirs. Okay, memoirs, people who write memoirs or maybe a particular day in their life, and they recount the memories and the life-changing events in their life. They are known as memoirists or memorialists. Okay, so let's look at the characteristics really quickly. Subjectivity, like I said, biography is objective, matter of fact way, and a memoir is subjective, that is, these are inherently subjective as they are based on the author's own memories. It is subjective. Her perspective and your perspective might not match, but it's a very personal connection nonetheless, because these are events in her life that were a turning point. So perceptions and interpretations of events. Personal voice, they are written in the first person, allowing the author's voice and perspective to shine through. This creates an intimate connection between the author and the reader. Focuses on specific events or themes. So you're not going to start from the beginning to the end like an autobiography. You're talking about a particular thing, a particular event, a particular theme. You're going to talk about it in a memoir. Selective memory, authors may, like I said, selective memory. I selected my 19th birthday, okay, and then I want to write about it. So selective memory, and even in that 19th birthday, I'm not going to write, oh yeah, okay, so I woke up in the morning and brushed my teeth. Not like that. I will select what I want, from that memory. Maybe I'll write about my 19th memory, or maybe I can write only about my birthdays, an entire book about only my birthdays. So my 3rd birthday, my 4th birthday, 5th birthday, like that, whatever memories I have. I'm selecting an episode in my life. I'm not writing, right, about my school life. I'm not writing about my career. I'm not writing about my hobbies and interests and day-to-day experiences. I'm going to write only about my birthdays. So I'm selecting events, right? And I'm writing only about that event. And even when I write that event, I'll talk about important things. Like, maybe my 18th birthday had a turning point and I'm going to talk about that. My 19th birthday had another memory. I'll talk about it. My 21st birthday had another memory. I'll talk about it. So selective memory. So authors may choose to highlight certain memories while omitting others, shaping the narrative according to their own storytelling purposes. Now I'll come to the book that I recommended. In one of my short videos, I had talked about the memoir My Story by Kamala Das. And she talks about, she is giving feminist perspectives, okay, in this entire thing. So she selects memories from her childhood and her marriage to actually talk about self-exploration. She talks about, feminist traits and everything. When we talk about Kamala Das, we'll talk about it. So she talks about events in her life and she picks those events that suit the theme. She talks about women empowerment. She talks about, feminist perspectives, gender roles, everything she deals with in my story, and she picks those events only from her life which will further highlight the point. So she talks about events from her childhood, she talks about her marriage and how she kind of like was searching for herself all throughout. So this is a selective memory, and personal memoirs focus on the author's personal interpretation of the experiences. So when she was a child, say Kamala Das, when she was a child and when she was staying in say a particular, I'll say a family's house, I'm just saying, okay, otherwise I cannot give away the plot, but just for example, take she's staying in her family's house, and whatever she witnessed around her, she actually writes about it. And a child's mind, right, when she witnessed those things, she recounts it, like how that impacted her, and it's the her interpretation of what she saw around her. So it is very, very personal. So autobiography and memoirs are very personal. The difference is that biographies are talk about a whole life. Memoirs are very short. They talk about a particular event or turning point or events in the author's life. So now we're going to move on to the next subgenre of life writing, which is a diary. It is only after quite a long time as a literature student that I realized that I take part in life writing. I maintain a diary, a daily diary, okay, and a daily journal also. So we are going to talk about both of them in this video. So we're going to first talk about the diary and its characteristics. I think it's very, very easy. This understanding what a diary is, we partake, most of us write diaries, right? We plan out what we're going to do the next day and we maintain diaries, and it is part of life writing now as a genre. So those of you who are practicing journal writing and diary writing every day, so you are part of this entire universe of life writing, and it's pretty interesting. But sometimes when we write diaries and we write journals, we don't know what the characteristics of each of them are. We don't know what a diary's characteristic is, we don't know what a journal's characteristic is. Even I was ignorant for a long time regarding it, and I just figured out that it would be nice to talk about these two things also in this video. So a diary and its characteristics. A diary is a written or audio visual today, okay, sometimes you record, right, your daily events, or remember when you those movies, you have people experiment and then they say that test specimen, this number, this today the subject is showing this tendencies, they record it in a recorder, right? So audio visual also, okay, memories record with discrete entries arranged by date, reporting on what has happened over the course of a day or another period. So yeah, every day you write a diary, what has happened in a day, what you plan to do tomorrow, what it's a recounting, or you're telling what you're going to do tomorrow, or it is a you arrange it by date. That is the main thing about a diary, by date, what you're going to do tomorrow, and tomorrow what has happened, the whole day what has happened today, you'll write it down. So that is recounting, or you're planning to do something, okay. So this is over the course of a day or another period. Diaries have traditionally been handwritten but are now also often digital. So yeah, you understand this. We have digital journals also, digital diaries also. Now we have digital, now we also handwritten ones. I write mine handwritten, I really like them. Only my book reviews I do them digitally, but diaries I always prefer them handwritten. It's a little bit more personal to me. So yeah, so diary entries are actually arranged date wise, okay. We're going to look at the characteristics, then understand it in relation to the journal, because there are differences between the two. So characteristics, first person, because I'm writing it, you are writing it, so it's personal. So it's diaries are written from the perspective of the writer using pronouns like I, my, we and our. Past tense. Diary entries are usually written in the past tense, which is true. Sometimes, in the morning when we wake up, we write about what we are going to do today. But before sleeping, we write, right? Okay, today in the morning, I had done this. I had gone to the supermarket. I had come back and finished this. So basically, you're writing it in past tense. You're not writing it in present tense, usually. Now, chronological order, of course, because it's date-wise arranged. Date and introduction is always mentioned. Like in my diary also, every day the date is mentioned. And yes, dear diary, and then I write whatever I have to write. So, informal language, because it's very personal. It's something which I am recounting by myself, for myself. in my diary. I'm actually tabbing down everything and recording everything that I'm doing every day. So this is an informal language. Then you have descriptive and detailed. Descriptive and detailed, which is 100% true. If you're planning, suppose tomorrow you're saying from 6 o'clock I'll wake up, 6 to 7 yoga, 7 to this and this. You're all planning out what you're going to do. I'm going to have 8 glasses of water tomorrow, something like that. I'm just giving an example. That is also in detail. You are even writing down the time, right, when you're going to do all of those things. When you're actually mapping your whole day, after you come back home and you write again in the diary that today I had done this, today I had gone to the supermarket and I had done that, I had done this. So everything is very descriptive and in detail. Now, purpose diaries are used to record important personal experiences and express feelings also. And private diaries are usually private and handwritten. So you can read the diaries of Virginia Woolf. She has maintained diaries. Now you can find them online, you can read them. And of course, The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. Now we're going to move on further. Now, let us have a look at the journal. Now, the main difference between a diary and a journal is the type of information recorded. Type of information recorded. A diary records daily events, while a journal records thoughts and reflections. Okay, so I have both. For example, I have a diary that talks about, yes, I went to the supermarket today, I went to get the groceries, I came back home, and then I got this done, I got that done. One of my guests had come, and I was so happy that the guest had come, and all of these things. Okay, in my journal, what I do is, suppose today I had gone to the park and I sat in the park and I had a lot of fun. In my journal, I come back and I write about my feelings. I write about, okay, I went to the park and it reminded me of my childhood days when I actually used to visit with my parents. Times have changed. I come here with my friends, but in every leaf and every grass, it seems the memories of me with my parents have been imprinted, and I relive them again and again when I go to the park. Like, you see, it's very personal. It's about my reflections of my daily events. You know, it's more personal. It records thoughts and reflections. Maybe I had a fight with somebody today and I write it down. Oh God, in my diary I write, oh God, I had a fight with somebody today and it was really annoying. I can't believe I had this fight, and all of these things, okay, you've written down in your diary. In your journal, you might write a poem on it. In your journal, you might write the hurt, about the feeling that you had, that, you know, when somebody hurts you at that level, it kind of like pierces you to the root. It's a little bit more thought oriented, reflection oriented. It's a little bit more creative. That's, in that sense, a journal. Sometimes you'll see they say journaling is the best therapy. You know why? Because it is that personal to you. You know, I have realized that, suppose you're feeling very blue today, okay, you're feeling not happy today. If you journal, it'll calm your nerves down. It is a way to actually lessen anxiety also, okay. And I enjoy journaling just like that. So sometimes I use this picture journaling and sticker journaling. All of those things I do. But I maintain even the writing. Sometimes when there's a lot of emotions going on in the mind, you can write it down and it kind of detoxes everything out. So it is a little bit more personal. It is a little bit more creative that way. Nowadays, there's so many journaling tools, journaling ideas, journaling supplies that you can get, and it does actually fuel your creativity, but it also reflects your mood. When you journal, it reflects your mood as well, and it does detox a lot of the tensions that's going on in your head. So journaling, the main difference, like I'm saying, is that a diary is daily events. Yes, you also record feelings, but a journal is more thought and reflection oriented. That yes, today I had this fight, next time this is a lesson that I have learned. You know, those things you do not write in a diary. In a diary, you just recount what you have done in the day. And in a journal, you actually recount your thoughts and reflections as well. So this is diary and journal. I think it's very, very interesting to go through these things. We practice these things in our day-to-day life. We've even read biographies and autobiographies, but we are not clear with the characteristics of each of them. And all of them are a part of life writing. So I thought this is an interesting thing that we could have taken up as a topic today. Now we're going to talk about hagiography. Now, hagiography is also something very interesting. It is like an autobiography or a biography. Only difference is that it is the biography of a saint or a religious person. So, of a saint or an ecclesiastical leader, as well as by extension and adulatory and idealized biography of a preacher, priest, founder, saint, monk, nun, or icon in any of the world's religions. So when you're writing a biography of any religious figure, that is hagiography. Now let us talk about letter. You can understand letter writing is very personal. You can write it formally or informally. So written or printed message. A letter can be a direct message addressed to a person or organization, usually sent by mail. A formal document, a letter can be formal document that grants a right of privilege. Now see, in history, okay, when you see a letter that will grant a right of privilege, right, you have the right to this or you have the privilege to this, it is a document, right? It has been documented that yes, this is something formally granted to you. So letters also form a very important part for reconstruction of history. They part of a very good source of information as far as history is concerned. So these are all documents that we should preserve, important documents that you do. Recently I also my father read to me the letters that my grandfather had written, and before he passed, okay, I was just born, I think 6 months I was, or 8 months I was when he passed, and he had written tons of letters to my father and my mom, to my father, talking about my mom and me, and saying that how much he loves me and how much he misses me, because he was not staying with us at the time. He was staying somewhere else, and my dad was working somewhere else. So he had written letters, and my dad was reading that to me. We got really, really emotional about it, and I just realized that this is something that I'm going to cherish my entire life. Letters from my grandfather, and he has mentioned me, my mom and my dad, and he's the love actually shown forth. So these letters are something which I have preserved, and likewise these are very personal messages, right, which he has sent me. Now if someday I write someday I write a biography, or someday I write something dedicated to my grandfather, these letters will be an important source which will serve as as a way for me to understand him, understand his character, because it's his voice in those letters. So letters also form a part of life writing. It's very personal, okay, to the author. Now personal essay, a personal essay is a non-fiction or autobiographical a personal essay, is a non-fiction or autobiographical piece of writing that describes a significant event in the author's life and how it shaped them. Personal essays are often written in the first person and can be written in a variety of styles, including creative non-fiction or formal essay. So essay, essay writing, okay, with all your paragraphs, that's the format is always there for essay writing. Now this is usually given to us in schools. I remember when I was in class 7, we got an essay in school. We had to write about our greatest fear. All of the students in class were supposed to write about our greatest fear, and then we had to write this personal essay. This is also part of life writing. My greatest fear, what is it? And then you write about it. The school children do it, okay, in essay writing. Then I also had one of my teachers telling me to write an essay which begins with this line: I dashed towards the deserted building. This was the opening line, and then you had to write a story on it. So what I'm trying to say is personal essays also we have done in our school time, we've done in our colleges, and all of these activities which we have done is part of life writing. It is personal to you. When you have written essays, right, it is very personal to you. That is part of life writing. So it expresses your feelings. So this is more or less the subgenres that I wanted to talk about. This is life writing. It also is part of many of the syllabuses now, very, very important ones, types of life writing that we have to actually address in terms of biographies, autobiographies. Many complicated ones are there which we have to understand. So this is what I wanted to talk about in this video. That is it for today, guys. I really thought that this video will be interesting because life writing is an interesting genre, and it's something which we come across. Again, I'm repeating, it's something that we come across in our day-to-day lives. So I thought that this video will be helpful for you, and if it has been helpful, then don't forget to like the video, share the video, and subscribe to my channel for similar content. And till we meet again, I really hope that you stay healthy and happy. See you in the next one, guys.